What's going on, everyone? This is Nate the Great coming to you live from the Sports Status podcast. Also on the All Sports All Plays Network. You can check me out on the All Sports All Plays Network Facebook page, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Also on the Sports Status Facebook page. Also, to clarify the announcement on the last episode, I have a website out now called the Nate Sports Blog .godaddysite.com. And so today's show really is a pregame of NHL and today's slate for NHL and NBA. If we have time, going over to talk a little bit of tennis as well. French Open, which is going on, and talking a little bit about today's slate for baseball. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Today, to start things off, we have the 76ers, who are playing against the Washington Wizards. Game 4, I honestly thought it would have been a 4-0 sweep if Joel Embiid did not go down with his injury. Now, honestly, if I was looking at it this way, I think it's a great thing for Philadelphia that they started off early. They started off high. They started off great early. Because you put up in the 3 games, you gave up 3 wins. Now Joel, he gets hurt in game 4, not game 2, game 3, or anything like that. Now I read not too long ago that he is doubtful to play in game 5, which means that his injury is probably not going to be season ending. Now I am going to say this. My prediction for today is I think 76ers Philadelphia is going to lose to Washington. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Joel is going to play within this next couple of games. I think that 76ers are going to take the series if Joel plays in today's game or any game after that. But as of right now, I'm taking Washington to win it, so to give it a 3-2 series lead. But I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I will say this, though. Let's say for a second, Philadelphia wins round 1 without Joel Embiid. You go into round 2, you're probably going to face the Atlanta Hawks. I can't see, with a hurt Joel, I can't see them making it past Atlanta. I'm sorry to say that, but I can't see that happening. So to look past into the past couple of series, how this went, across things like that. The Washington Wizards went, and Washington Wizards won Game 4, 122-114. Joel Embiid had 8 points in that game. Tobias Harris scored the most points on the 76ers, having 13 rebounds, 5 assists, and 21 points. Now, to talk a little bit about Ben Simmons, he played 25 minutes in that game yesterday in Game 4, had 13 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists. With Joel hurt, Ben Simmons needs to give more points than 13. Now, to go with on the Washington Wizards side, I apologize if I butchered this guy's name, but Rui Hachimura, he scored 20 points in that game, and so did Bradley Beal. But you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 7 people that scored double-digit on points. Russell Westbrook didn't have a 20-point game, but he was 1 point shy. Go in the game 3 when the 76ers took that series 132 to 103. Joel Embiid had 36 points in that game. Ben Simmons had a worse game that game than the one where the Washington took the win. Ben needs to step up more than what he did in Game 4. I'm taking Washington in this game, but I still feel like maybe there's a chance for the 76ers to take the series. I definitely don't think they're going to make it past Atlanta unless if Embiid comes back. So moving on and talking a little bit about Atlanta for a second. Atlanta Hawks, I think that's their next game. Yes, Atlanta Hawks versus New York Knicks. Now this game was a lot more. I thought this was going to be a closer game than what it was. I still think I thought it was going to be a Knicks and 7-game series, but it's not looking like that. Atlanta has a 3-1 advantage. Yes, Denver had came back from a 3-1 lead, 3-1 deficit, twice last year. But they're the only team. They were when Denver did that against Utah in round 1. They were the 12th team in NBA history to do that, and they're the only team in NBA history to come back from a 3-1 deficit twice in the same season. So, in this series, I would be shocked if New York comes back from this 3-1 deficit. As what Kenny said in Real Talk, ASAP Real Talk, the Knicks are terrible at knocking down shots. They can score. Scoring is not the issue. You look at this from a stats perspective. The New York Knicks lost 105. Sorry, they lost 113 to 96. Julius Randle scored 23 points in that game. R.J. Barrett scored 21. Derrick Rose scored 18. Alex Burks scored 12. Obi Toppin scored 13 in that game. I think really Alec Burks and Obi Toppin needs to get more minutes than that. Obi Toppin had 19 minutes in that game, and he scored. He didn't do well in rebounds and assists, but he scored points for the number of minutes that he played. Julius Randle, for 36 minutes, he scored 23 points. The ratio for Obi Toppin, what he did in that game for the ratio of Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, I think, had a better game on the points perspective. Assists and rebounds give it to Julius, but now for the Hawks, they have put up a lot of points. You have Kevin Kevin Huter, who had 11. Gennari, who had 21. Trae Young, who had 27 points. John Collins, 22. Clint Capella had 10. Bogdan Bogdanovic had 12. I already said about Trae Young. So the defense for the Knicks needs to step up. So predictions for this series, even though I had the Knicks taking in 7, I really don't think that's going to happen. I'll go Atlanta. I'll go Atlanta in 6. I think New York is going to win tonight, but I don't see this going past 6 games. So next up, we have the Jazz and the Grizzlies. Now, we talked a little bit about this in Sports Corner, gave a little bit of live reaction to it. The Jazz, they won. They lost game 1, but Donovan Mitchell was not playing in that game. And when Donovan Mitchell came back, they won by 20. They won 141 to 129. The Grizzlies, I think, had a much better. They scored more points in that game than they did the game that they won. But then Game 3 came in, and Jazz won again, 121 to 111, and the Jazz won Game 4, 120 to 113. Now the Jazz, however, I think that they are going to win this game. So I have the Jazz are going to win this game again. Like I've been saying the past couple of times. Last episode of Sports Status, I covered about this game as well. I think this series is going to go on a wrap. So, recap NBA perspective. I think the Jazz are going to close out this series, but I don't think so for the Knicks and the 76ers. Now, Dallas versus Clippers is interesting because Dallas won Game 1 and Game 2. If Kristaps Porzingis can step up like Kristaps Porzingis was last year, and I'm going to stand by this statement I've been saying all season long. If Kristaps Porzingis did not go hurt in game 4, I think this series would be we would have had Denver versus Dallas in round 2. But Kristaps Porzingis is not performing up to the level that he did last year in the bubble. So I'm going with Dallas. Not Dallas. I'm going with the Clippers. Going with Clippers to get their 3rd win. Unless if Kristaps can have a game like what he had last year. Now, that's all on the NBA side. I'm going to go. Let's transition and move to some NHL talk today. Now, on the NHL, first up, we have Game 1 against the Canadiens against the Winnipeg Jets. Now, Winnipeg was one of those 2 teams that swept their opponent in round 1. They faced against the Canadiens that took their series. They came back from a 3-1 deficit against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, in this series, I'm taking the Jets Jets are going to win this series. Now, the question is, how long is it going to take? I don't think that this year is going to be like 2018. No, 2019. Yeah, 2019. Yeah. Anyway, the year that the year that St. Louis Blues won their Stanley Cup, I don't think it's going to be like that. I say that because every single team that swept their opponent, there was at least one sweep every single round. But every team that swept their opponent in the previous round lost in the next round. Boston Bruins, they swept the Carolina Hurricanes in the semi conference finals before going to the Stanley Cup Finals. They swept them, but we know what happened, and Boston lost. The Penguins, I think they swept their team in round one, but then they lost in the next round. So I don't think this year is going to be like that. I think the Jets are going to take their advantage. I think that they're going to take the series to 6 games. I don't think that the Canadians are going to win game 1. I'm going to go Jets. If I had to give like a scoring prediction for tonight, I'll probably say 3-2 Jets. So the next game is the Golden Knights. They play against the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado has a 1-0 advantage against them. Now, Colorado had their series win. They were the other team in the NHL to sweep this year. Now, NHL, I think that now Colorado won game 1. They won 7-1. Now, Colorado does what they always seem to be great at, and that's scoring in that second period. Now, looking at this one, Colorado scored 2 goals in that first period. Vegas scored a goal in the second period. Colorado scored 4. And then in the third period, you had Colorado that scored 1. So, for this reason, I think I probably going to change my prediction here. And I don't think this is going to be 7 games in favor of Golden Knights. Because of what happened in game 1. Because of what went down in game 1, I would probably say Colorado wins this in 6 to move on to the next round. That's my prediction. Unless if we see more games like game 1. So to go on to the next game. We have the Boston. That's all today. That's all for today in the NHL. Boston Bruins versus New York Islanders. That is tomorrow. Also playing with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Tampa Bay Lightning. That is also tomorrow. So let's move on, and I'm to go away from hockey, and I'll talk. Let's see how much time we have. 20 minutes have gone by. So I'm going to talk a little bit of the French Open, which is going on right now as we speak. Well, I don't know if hold on. So the French Open, yeah, it is going on right now as we speak. So today Wednesday, June 2nd, Now we're right now in the second. So actually, let's go ahead. Let's move. Let's go ahead and talk some baseball. Talk some baseball today to start off for today for baseball. The Cubs play the Padres later today. And the Cubs, I've been impressed what I've been seeing for the Cubs. Now, the Padres have been having some great pitching staff as well. But again, with this series, what we've been seeing, the Padres have a 2-0 advantage over the Cubs have a 2-0 advantage over the Padres, where Game 1 was 7-2 as the result, and then the Game 2 was 4-3 as the result. Now, Game 3 is later today at 1:20 in the afternoon. I'm taking the Cubs to have a sweep for this one. So I'm gonna go. I think the scoring result for this, I'm gonna go Cubs 4 runs maybe, and Padres 3. So after, we also have the Mets and Diamondbacks play today at 2:40. Go through, give my predictions real quick. If you have any questions towards the end, let me know. Mets play the Diamondbacks later today. I'm gonna give Mets to have like a 2-1 advantage over the Diamondbacks as the win. So for Twins and Orioles, even though the Twins haven't been doing that great in a while, they have a record of 22-32. However, in this series, it was a 1-1 split. Orioles won yesterday. Monday, Twins won. So I'm taking the Twins to finish this out to have a 2-1 win. Rays and Yankees play later today at 6:05. I am giving the Rays. They've been great lately. They have a 35-21 record. They play up against the 30-25 New York Yankees. The Rays have a 1-1 split against the Yankees. So as a scoring prediction, I'm going to go Rays 6, New York Yankees 3. So the Miami Marlins have been playing against Toronto Blue Jays, who haven't been as great as what they were last year. The Rangers had a series win over them. That was a pretty great series. Now, Miami did lose Game 1 against the Toronto Blue Jays, and they are actually currently on a 4-game losing streak. I think that streak is going to end, and I think the Blue Jays are going to lose. I'm going to go 4-2. The Nationals, they play the Braves. Braves have a record of 25-27, while Nationals have a 22-29 record. I'm going to give early hot take, and I don't think the Atlanta Braves are going to win make it to the playoffs with a losing record like that. I know that it's not going to be it's not going to be. It's not even an All-Star break yet, but I'm still going to give that early prediction. Now, in this series, the Nationals have won 11-6 yesterday, and on Monday, the Braves won that game 5-3. I'm going to give this to the Nationals to have a 2-1 advantage, and they also play tomorrow. I think this is going to be a 2-2 split to end off the series, but I do think that the Nationals are going to get their second win of the series today. Now, next up, we have the Red Sox who play against the Houston Astros. Red Sox have a 32-22 record. Astros have a 30-24 record. Now, Red Sox are the away team in this series. Now, let me double check this stat before I give it out here. So, the Red Sox are 16-9 away. Most of their losses are at home. The only team I think still stands, the only team to have a to win a series against the Boston Red Sox away is still the Texas Rangers. Yeah. Because by the time the Rangers came into the town, Rangers came in, played their home stretch. They won their series. They won their series 3-1. Orioles did have one loss. 2 wins at home against the Red Sox. So that's 5 games right there. Now the other time now that's six games because the Blue Jays did have a win. 7 games because the Phillies did have a win against them. Yeah, really. So it's the now if the Astros win today, what I said about this Red Sox team, that stat no longer applies. But just to give a homer take out there, I think the Red Sox are going to win today. So next up, after Red Sox and Astros, we have the Texas Rangers who are playing an away series against the Colorado Rockies. Now, they both have the same number of losses, which is 34. But Rangers have one more win than loss. One more win than the Colorado Rockies. Rangers have 22 wins of the season. Colorado has 21. Texas has not been off on a great start. Let's just say that. They lost yesterday to Colorado to have they lost 3-2. They play today at 7:40 in the evening. I would like to see the Rangers come back and bounce back on this loss. Now, looking at the standings, though, the Rangers are last, and they have a 3-7. They won 3 games out of their last 7. Nobody has. The Angels and the Mariners are the only 2 teams that have a winning record in their last 7 in the division. But looking on the Rockies side, looking at those standings, the Rockies are 5-5 in their last 10. They're above the Arizona Diamondbacks with a 20-36 record. Looking at this one, I think the Rangers might win this and win 4-2. 4-2 today over the Colorado Rockies. So up next we have the Dodgers as stay in the same division for Colorado. They actually play against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Dodgers have one more win than St. Louis, and the St. Louis has one more loss. They both played the same number of games. Now, in this game, to give a prediction on that, the Dodgers have a 1-1 split. Colorado won yesterday. Not Colorado. Arizona. St. Louis has won. Has won yesterday. The Dodgers have won on the 31st. I think the Dodgers are going to take this series and give the Cardinals the win. So the last game of the night, and then I'll go ahead and close this off, is the Mariners and the Athletics. The Mariners won. The Mariners are playing the Athletics. Mariners are that team that I'm telling you about that have the best record in their last 10 games of the division with 7-3. So I'm going to give this an upset. I think that the Mariners are going to win over the Athletics. And I'm actually going to, the scoring prediction I'm going to say is 7-3. So that is all I have for today. And it's been Nate the Great. See you next time.